Good evening, this is Viewpoint. I'm Zaka Jacob. There is a massive controversy brewing over the latest Ratnam film, Ponniyin Selvan. It started with fellow filmmaker Vetrimaran saying that there is an attempt of late to try and Hinduize Dravidian icons like Thiruvalluvar, the great poet, and Rajaraja Cholan, the great king of the Chola dynasty. Now, actor and superstar Kamal Haasan has weighed in on this debate. He has said that there was no concept of Hindu or Hinduism at the time of the Chola dynasty. Now, while Kamal Haasan may be technically right, the fact is that the Cholas were Shaivites. They were big bhakts of Shiva. And Rajaraja Cholan, in fact, is credited with building one of the biggest Shiva temples in South India, the Brihadishwara temple, or the big temple in Tanjavur as it's known. So who exactly is trying to stoke this fire?
Ratnam's Ponniyin Selvan 1 is a hit at the box office.
तलवार मैं केवल चोल साम्राज्य के लिए उठा सकता.
But the movie is now surrounded by controversy over the identity of the Cholas. First, it was Tamil director Vetrimaran who claimed that Rajaraja Cholan was not a Hindu king. And there have been constant attempts to saffronize Valluvar and snatch their symbols. Today, actor turned politician Kamal Haasan echoed that very view and appealed to the film fraternity to not exaggerate or twist history.
இந்து மதங்கிற பேர் ராஜராஜ சோழன் காலத்தில் கிடையாது. அப்படி வைணவம்னு இருந்தது, சைவம்னு இருந்தது, சமணம்னு இருந்ததே தவிர அது வெள்ளக்காரங்க நமக்கு வச்ச பேர்.
Not only members of the Tamil film industry, politicians too are backing that view. It was VCK first, and now the DMK has also alleged that history is being misrepresented.
There is a lot of difference between Vaishnavism and Saivism. So at that time of Rajaraja Chola, there is a clear-cut difference.
The BJP have been quick to refute the claims made by Kamal Haasan and Vetrimaran. The BJP firmly believes that Rajaraja Cholan was in fact a Hindu king, and the statements are being made to get some public attention.
If Vetrimaran or Kamal Haasan or Thirumavalavan says that Rajaraja Cholan is not a Hindu, I can only pity them.
Amid this controversy, the movie has blazed past the 300 crore mark worldwide. Viewers and critics have highly rated the movie, but the biggest question now arising is, who is stoking this religious fire?
All right, let's break down this row over Ponniyin Selvan. What exactly are the charges and the counters to those charges? Charge number one is that the film depicts Rajaraja Cholan as a Hindu. The claim by Vetrimaran and others is that Rajaraja Cholan was not a Hindu. Kamal Haasan weighing in and saying that there was no Hinduism during the Chola time. In fact, Cholan himself called himself as a Chola devotee, as a Shiva devotee. That's what the charge is, or the counter is from the right. The charge is that there was no Hinduism. Of course, this is something that Kamal Haasan has also said in his comments after watching the movie. No Hinduism or the term Hindu during the Chola time. The counter is that what were the churches or mosques or other religious institutions other than temples that were built by the Cholas? The charge is that history is misrepresented, it is being manipulated. The counter is that fake atheists, remember the Dravidian movement did not believe in God, they were rationalists. Fake atheists find problems in the Hindu religion. And finally, the charge is that some of the Dravidian symbols, this is what Vetrimaran alluded to first in his comments on the 1st of October, that some of the Dravidian symbols, Thiruvalluvar, Rajaraja Cholan, etc., are being snatched away and given a different interpretation. The counter is, this is an attempt to try and denigrate Hindu gods and goddesses. Let me now go across to our guests who are joining us. Suman C. Raman, political analyst, joining us. S. Muralidharan is a political analyst as well. Rahul Ishwar also on the broadcast this evening. Gautam Chintamani is a film historian, and Bhavna Tanme, film critic, also on the broadcast. Suman, let me start with you first. As someone who is a native from there, a resident from there, Kamal Haasan is technically right when he says there was no term called Hindu or Hinduism at the time of Rajaraja Cholan. But then the fact is that everybody knows that the big temple or the Brihadishwara temple in Thanjavur was built for Lord Shiva. It was built by Rajaraja Cholan. To say that he was not a Hindu king is disingenuous.
I think, Zaka, I'm not able to understand the purpose of this because Kamala Hassan is an extremely intelligent person. So he is unlikely to be unaware of the fact that Shaivism is one of the main arms of Hinduism as we know it today. And merely because the term Hindu did not exist at that point of time does not mean that what Rajaraja Chola followed was some other faith. Shaivism and is an essential part of Sanatana Dharma, which is basically the precept that has lasted for centuries of time. So the point is, by trying to make this technical kind of distinction on the word Hindu, I don't know what Mr. Kamala Hassan hopes to achieve. Look, the best part, Zaka, for me today is the DMK. Mr. T.K.S. Ilangovan is on record accepting that he was a Shaivite king, which is a start. I mean, until a few days ago, I haven't seen too many of them even accept that he was a Shaivite. Now, the second part is, I was on another debate, and there was a member from the BCK, which is a party known for its extreme views on such topics, particularly, Hinduism. And a representative there also said twice, he is not a Hindu king, he is a Shaivite king. They both mean the same. Just because the term was not there. No, my question is, what was the principle that Rajaraja Chola followed? Was it the principle of Sanatana Dharma? Was it the principles which today in the modern world are identified with the Hindu faith or not? That is the bottom line.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it.
Unfortunately,
in fact,
nobody is asking that question.
The biggest Shiva temples across Tamil Nadu and across South India were built either by the Chola dynasty or by the Pandya dynasty. But I want to ask Rahul Ishwar this. Disingenuous is one word to describe, but what Vetrimaran said, he believes that there seems to be an attempt to try and saffronize some of the Dravidian icons, whether it was Thiruvalluvar, the great poet, or showing him in saffron robes, or now Rajaraja Cholan being shown as a Hindu king. He says that this is trying to portray Dravidianism and Dravidian icons in bad light. How do you respond to that?
Zaka, 2 points. One, the word Hindu is a bit amorphous. We all agree. 1995, Brahmachari Siddheshwar Sai was a state of West Bengal. Our Honorable Supreme Court quoted the former Chief Justice P.B. Gajendra Kadkar, who rightly said, Hindu is a way of life. And Hindu is life and commonwealth of so many faiths. We have so many diverse paths. For example, I follow the Ayyappa path. There are Shaivites, Vaishnavites, or those who follow Subramanya, Shakteyas, Arya Samajis, Brahma Samajis. Even atheists have a place in the Hindu plan of things. So Hindu paradigm is a bit very wide. And as Suman C. Raman sir rightly pointed out, even though the word may not be technically at that point of time, this culture or civilization is generally called as what is Hindu. You can call it Indic, you can call it Arsha Bharata Sanskriti, you can call it Indian culture, whichever name you want to call, that culture was always there. Second, the Dravidianism movement rose as against the anti-Brahmanism or the anti-Brahmanical mindset at that point of time. And we all respect Ramaswamy Naikar, who contributed to freedom struggle, who even inspired Mahatma Gandhi for liquor prohibition. But please remember, even his name is Ramaswamy Naikar. So, Sri Ram is that much prevalent everywhere. And look at the official logo of Tamil Nadu. It's a temple. So, the Hindu cultural framework is definitely there. Yes, there has been attempt by certain people to de-Hinduize things. See, I am a proud Hindu activist. At the same point of time, there is no need to either over-saffronize or de-Hinduize. Both are some tendencies. And please remember, Thiruvalluvar is a great dharmic Hindu poet himself. How can we deny the roots of Thiruvalluvar, who have wrote invocations to various deities, who taught about, the great cultural, ecosystem of India. So please don't de-Hinduize them. Yes, it is one thing to say that we should not be communal. Nobody wants to be communal.
Yes.
But at the same time, associate good things with Hindu. Kamala Hassan sir,
what I want to know from S. Muralidharan is, this whole Dravidian versus Hindu gods, Hindu icons, or the de-Hinduization that Rahul Ishwar talks about, stems from this whole narrative wars that Dravidianism was against Hindu gods. Now, you look at the two biggest Dravidian parties in Tamil Nadu, one DMK, the other ADMK. Mr. Stalin is on record on number of occasions where he has said that there are a number of people in his party who are believers. He has in fact cited the example of his own wife who is a believer. No one ever, on the other side, you look at the AIDMK, you look at EPS or OPS, no one ever accuses them of being anti-Hindu. In fact, they wear a vibhuti, both of them, wherever they go. So, where is this narrative war stemming from that Dravidianism is anti-Hindu or trying to de-Hinduize Hindu icons and gods?
It's the current politics, Zaka. If you look at the current politics, the state is actually, the law and order is in shambles. We had something close to 130 murders in last 30 days. And things are not hunky-dory. Price rise is there. You have the EB, everything, electricity price hike is there. Then we have price hike in forms of, property taxes and registrations, everything. So people are unhappy. And adding to this is recently concluded election inside the secretariat, union election, where the opposition of DMK has won. So there is a lot of, displeasure and hate towards the current ruling dispensation. That's one. So, and adding to this is the PFI ban, where the Tamil Nadu government had to go and ban them because it was instruction from the Home Ministry. Now, because of that, we know that minority were the stronghold and the supporters of the DMK party, and these people had become unhappy about it. And people like Vidudhai Chirtaigal, Mr. Thirumavalavan, or Nam Tamilar Katchi, Mr. Seeman, all these people who sing this tune is only because most of their parties are funded by these fringe elites. The PFI and VCKs, they're glued together. So obviously there is pressure from them. So they need to counter-attack. So this is a part of a counter-attack towards this PFI ban, where they want to demonize RSS or the Sangh or the saffronization, and they are targeting Hinduism for that, thinking that they are attacking Modi. Unfortunately, it's working against them. It's hurting all Hindu
It's an interesting political point that you've made. I'll come back to that in just a moment, but I want to go to Gautam Chintamani and to Bhavna as well. Gautam Chintamani, there have been other depictions, other adaptations of Ponniyin Selvan, nothing quite as grand as this or opulent as this, both on the big screen, and most importantly, there have been theatrical adaptations of Ponniyin Selvan. Why this controversy vis-a-vis this movie? And usually when, there are controversies around a movie, it is in the run-up to that movie. It's when trailers are there, people haven't watched the full film. I've watched the full film, and I'm very clear in my mind that he was being as true to the text as possible. So why then this controversy a week or 10 days after the movie has released? I mean, help us understand that.
Well, Zaka, I think it largely has to do with the fact that it's a... as grab is what is going to help the narrative and attract attention. On the statement of Mr. Kamal Haasan, I think it's a very infantile statement. It is something which is refuted by nearly everybody on the panel here, and anybody who has even the slightest sense of history will know that there is very little truth to the statement that Mr. Kamal Haasan has made, or Mr. Vetrimaran's statement that Kamal Haasan is pushing. Because at the end of the day, I mean, if the greatest of the kings has built the finest of the temples, for Hindu gods and deities, how can that king not be a Hindu king? Now that's a question which is completely debatable. You can look at the terms, you can look at how one wants to interpret the text. But the fact of the matter remains that, like you rightly said, it comes at 10 days after the film's release, and I think this is going to give the film a push, and this is also going to give, who knows, maybe there's another film on similar subject or similar topic, or Kamal Haasan's next film, which is out there. And let's not forget that Kamal Haasan has also forayed into active politics, and his stance, his party stance, is clearly against what the central government has right now. So anything that gets him eyeballs would be lapped up by the media. And Kamal Haasan is one of our finest actors. He's one of our greatest artists, and anything that he says is given attention and debated about. But I think this particular statement of his is as infantile as it can get. And to my mind, it's only to push the film or to generate a sense of curiosity about Mr. Kamal Haasan himself, or the artist Kamal Haasan, or the politician Kamal Haasan.
Okay. Bhavna, there has been problems or elements raise concerns about the way historic events and historic figures are portrayed. And this has happened, whether it is a Jodha Akbar or the most recent Adi Purush also, there's a lot of controversy about how history is portrayed on screen. Is that just inherently a problem with period films, or can you think of any instances where, a period film has come out without any controversy, the depiction of one or the other historical figure or religious figure?
Before I talk about the point whether the films have really, are there any issues with the periodic films that come from, I would like to talk about that era where, N.T. Ramarao, Shobhan Babu, and many, senior actors also worked on this mythology and periodic films.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody raised an issue with who is playing who, why is he playing that, or where did this come from, what was the source and all.
Correct.
But now with social media, Wikipedia, and everything, what everybody writes on the internet is available for people from across the world. People are so, enthusiastic to talk about whatever they find. But I wonder, no, really, there is no periodic film that has been released without any complaints, or what people want to talk about, the issues they raised. Why did they portray this actor or this person in this character? If, he's a Muslim guy, why does he want to play a Hindu on the screen? All these issues happen. But being somebody who has closely worked in the production, post-production, pre-production of a film, people should actually stop doing this every time a film related to mythology or periodic films release, because the amount of effort that goes into making a film is not easy. Not easy as you write a tweet.
The counter to that is so there are people who say that filmmakers themselves do this sometimes to try and make sure that the film is a talking point, and therefore and we know how much opening weekend is important in this day and age. Is there any truth to that?
No, I don't think so. Why would somebody want to why a filmmaker like Mani Ratnam, who gave the 5 Ponniyin Selvan books to his wife Suhasini before they got married, to seek help from her in writing a one-liner and a script of the story. I mean, literally, who worked for 35 films on the script, years on this, writing the script for this film, would want to make a controversy, that too after 10 days of the release of a film, and is doing really well in all the languages at the box office.
Okay.
I really wonder.
So, Sumant, I want to come back to the political point, and I think a valid point that was raised by Mr. Muralidharan. Is there a sense that some of these fringe political parties, the VCK, the Nam Tamizhar Katchi, are basically hijacking what is the Dravidian mainstream, as it were, for their own narrow political ends, and they are, fueling this whole fire that Dravidianism was always anti-Hindu and was against Hindu icons and Hindu gods?
I think that as far as the VCK is concerned and the communist parties are concerned, I would agree with you. The NTK is a slightly different entity. They are strong supporters of Shaivite religion. So they are not against religion itself. They claim that Shaivism is different and today's modern Hinduism is different, but they accept the worship of God. But Zaka, the thing is, what happens is something that the DMK is not realizing at this point of time, is that the narrative that is constantly, with debates on topics of whether Rajaraja Chola, for instance, was a Hindu, and then A. Raja's statement a few days ago, and you have this kind of almost constant, plus of course the gaps by the various ministers. I think that the narrative is slowly being built that the DMK chief seems to have lost control over his alliance partners and indeed some of his own ministers. So I think that that's not good for the DMK from a political perspective. Clearly, look, the RSS wanted to have a rally on Gandhi Jayanti Day. The VCK was, not the DMK, the VCK it was who went to court and said that they want to hold a counter rally on the same day. So the court said the RSS to hold the rally in November and the VCK to hold their rally on the 11th of October.
Okay.
So I think that was clearly a move which the DMK would have probably, nudge the VCK into acting. So I think that there is a narrative which is being created, and for the DMK, they have to understand, Mr. Stalin needs to understand that times have changed. We are not in the 60s and 70s.
All right, I'll give Rahul the final word.
One point, Zaka.
Quickly, yeah.
By the way, Kamal Hassan is incorrect when he says that the word Hindu was coined by the British. That is factually incorrect. It has been there from the 15th century onwards.
Okay.
So that again is incorrect.
All right, Rahul, I'll give you the final word. Again, I come back to where I started off. Saying that Rajaraja Cholan was not a Hindu king is like saying Tipu Sultan was not a Muslim king. I mean, it's as big a truism as there would be.
Saka, the word Hindu comes from Sindhu, and I know the Persians and the Arabs used to call it Hapta Hindu, and because they didn't have S, Asura became Ahura. But the core point here is, as a Hindu activist from Brahmin community, I concede there has been some historical injustices which really provoked the Dravidian movement at that point of time. But we have reformed ourselves greatly through people like Swami Vivekananda or Mahatma Gandhi or Subramania Bharati or even Periyar Ramaswamy Naikar. So it is time to shun this divisiveness, accept as it is. There are Shaivites, and how can you deny such an obvious reality? Just because you don't like some historical injustices, you cannot, deride Hinduism as such or Hindu culture as such.
All right,
so
we'll leave it at that. I'm completely out of time. Thanks very much for joining us on this debate. Thank you for your time.